Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and I'm glad you stopped in today. Normally, I do a lot of knitting and crochet, some sewing, and a lot of other different crafts that sometimes will make it on the channel, sometimes won't. So, I have a few different makes that I finished. So, grab your project, grab a soda, coffee, tea, whatever you drink, and hang out with me for a little bit. Actually, it might be a long little bit. If you're new here, be prepared. I talk a lot. If you have seen a few of my videos, you already know me. I'm not that hard to figure out. Who you see on that camera, on your screen, is who I am. So I'm pretty consistently all over the place. And I have got my tea this morning. I am a newly minted, self-proclaimed tea drinker now. The hair's doing its own thing, and if I keep playing with it, I'm sorry. It's just there's one or two little sprigs right here that keep getting in my way. There's something to be said to wearing it all back. But I do that at work, and I miss having my hair down. So whenever I can, I like to have my hair down. Alright. You've heard me ramble. You have. And before I get started into my makes, I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to clean the base of my iron. The ironing part, the plate of my iron. And I've always cleaned it with baking soda and water paste, right? And it's always done fine. Well, one of the project bags, which are, by the way, on my website, if y'all want to go look some up. And I'm constantly adding to them. I'm thinking about, I have a large and a small right now. I'm thinking about adding a middle one yet, in between those two. I don't know yet. I still want to add some zipper bags, so we'll see. But anyway, I struggled this morning. If y'all heard that, sorry. That was not supposed to be loud. But my tea is at that perfect temperature to where it's not scalding my mouth, but it's not cool. So it's like, anyway. So, the other day, well, no, honestly, it was probably about a week ago, maybe a week and a half. Your girl got stupid. I was like I told y'all several times in these videos, when I make a project bag, I line every piece of cloth that I make it with interfacing, except for the drawstring sleeves. I don't do that because you don't want that stiffness. You want that pliability in your drawstring sleeves. But anyway, so every other part of the bag is lined with interfacing to give it some sturdiness. Well, I'm sitting there, and I've got 2 bags in the makes, and I've cut all my fabric for the 2 bags, and I've cut the interfacing, and now I'm ironing the interfacing on. Oh, and I messed up. See, the interfacing has a smooth side and a nubbly side. The nubbly side is the glue. So you put that down to the wrong side of the fabric. I've mentioned before in my thing, I have peripheral neuropathy, which for me and my feet means I have no sensation. Well, 99% of the sensation in my feet are gone. Every now and again I can feel something. But in my hands, it's probably about maybe 50%. I mean, there's definitely some loss of sensation in my hands. But normally, if I can't tell by feel, I'll look at it and see which looks smooth and which looks like, little microscopic dots. Well, I don't know how I failed that day, but y'all know I get up at the crack of dawn, well, before the crack of dawn, and I was doing this at probably about 5:30 or 6 in the morning. So I thought I had it turned right, and apparently I didn't, because I went to go iron it, and the interfacing started moving with my iron, and I'm like, what in the heck? Yeah, it was the glue had, yeah, so I had glue all over the front of my iron. And I tried using Goo Gone at that moment to get it off, and it smelled horrible, so, because the iron was still hot. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll let the iron cool off. Well, I let the iron cool off, and I didn't think about it. I had it sitting over here cooling, and I had went into the living room and was working on some knitting and crochet, and come back in here, started ironing again. I cut me a new piece of interfacing, started ironing again. Didn't think about trying to get the rest of the glue off the face of my iron. Well, a few more bags go by, and I'm looking at the face of my iron, and I'm like, Jeezy Pete, this stuff needs to be cleaned. Well, I tried my little baking soda and water paste, and it didn't work so well. It wasn't getting it off. Goo Gone wasn't getting it off. So, a little while ago, I said, what if I do, because you can clean your iron with vinegar water, just vinegar, and wiping it down as almost like, not a daily thing, but maybe a weekly thing. And then if it starts to get a little gunked up, you can use the baking soda and water paste that I've done that has been successful. Because just enough of that grittiness, Well, needless to say, my iron was not getting clean. So I thought, okay, what if I add the baking soda and the vinegar together to make the bubbling, like a peroxide. It just bubbles things up. Well, I tried that on a small section away from my steam vents, and it really didn't do a whole lot. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm breaking out the big boy. So I got my SOS pad. When I say, I hope I didn't ruin my iron, I hope I didn't ruin my iron. But thankfully, it is just a little Proctor Selects that I got at, if I'm even saying that right, I got it at Walmart years and years and years ago. So if I have to update it, it won't be the end of the world. I don't want to, because I've been spending way too much money without a whole lot of return on that yet. So, now we're going to get into the makes. Sorry, I did ramble a little bit, but I had to tell you what I did with my iron. And yes, I do see the marks left by the SOS pad. It's not huge, it's just little bitty micro scratches, but let's hope it doesn't affect the use of that iron. Which what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it on just some of my clothes first to make sure that it doesn't mess anything up as far as my clothing or my bags. So, Alright. So I made a couple more things. And I apologize. I'm not sick. I just don't know why I can't clear my throat this morning. I thought it was, because I needed something nice and warm and yummy to my throat. But apparently that's not it. But tea's always good regardless. So, y'all know I did the big twist. What was the big twist? What was the name of this one? Winter. It was the big twist winter. And this one was the Ponderosa Pine. Well, the other ear warmers I made, I didn't like them. So I never even put them together. I never even sewed them together. And I said, I'm going to try this again. Well, my machine was giving me so much trouble. I mean, so much trouble. So I took it apart and I cleaned it and I re-oiled it with some white lithium grease that I saw another person used. But you know, when I took my machine apart, I didn't notice that there was a whole lot of buildup or anything. So I'm not really sure why it was dropping so many stitches and why it was doubling up on other stitches. I don't know. So I made these in the Ponderosa Pine, and while I like how these come out a little bit better, and I think it was just the way the colors played that I didn't like on the others. Now, that machine still fought me. Not as bad as previous, but it still fought me. And I'm wondering if I just need to just stop using it, because it's not enjoyable if you have to fight it. I would rather hand knit them and enjoy what I'm doing rather than cranking them out on the machine. And while that is lovely and is quick, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So I made these, and like I said, this is the Big Twist Ponderosa Pine from the winter collection. And I made, and this is all I can make out of that one cake that I bought, because the others took a lot. And I tried recycling one for a third one, and it didn't work out. I think the machine had already abused it too bad. So then, I don't know if y'all remember me telling you, my niece is going to New York, and she's seen the small thinner headbands, my headbands, ear warmers. So she's like, "Oh, Aunt Lynn, I want some. I want a set of this for me and Lauren when we go on our trip." And I said, "Sure." I said, "Do you want this one, or do you want a big one like this?" Well, I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, I said, "Do you want the small one, or do you want the big one?" She's like, "I want 2 big ones." I said, "Okay." She's like, I said, "Do you want it in this color?" Which is the Big Twist Living in, I think it was charcoal grays. It was a nice little gradient colorway. And again, I tried it on my machine. And I tried one ear warmer 6 times. I could get up to about row 30. Sometimes it would skip right at the beginning, and I could fix it really easy. And then it would skip 2 or 3 stitches in like row 30. And then it would hit stitches, and then it would skip a wide 6 thing. And I'm cranking this thing by hand. I'm not even using a drill or electric screwdriver or whatever. And I'm going slow, but it's still skipping it. And I'm like, what in the world is going on with this thing? So I'd already cleaned it, and that didn't make a big difference. So I decided, let me change yarns. Let me change yarns. And I didn't have any of that winter that she liked for headbands. I keep saying headbands. Y'all know what I mean. Ear warmers. So I got out some tried and true Red Heart Super Saver. And this is the Aran weight. I mean, not Aran color. A-R-A-N. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. Y'all, I say skeins instead of skeins. So it is what it is with me. But I made her a matching set in the Red Heart Aran. And I really like how these came out. Now, yes, it did skip a couple times, but it was 1 or 2 little stitches, and I was able to correct them and you know, keep going. But these things, I went so crazy slow just to make sure that they didn't skip any stitches. And while it was a little faster than hand knitting, it wasn't that much of a time saver. Just saying. I did put, I tried out my new Chiagu interchangeables and was trying the living. And it was looking okay. But the thing I found is my Centro has a 40 pin for these big ones. And I tried casting on 40 stitches on... Hold on. I gotta pull this thing out so I can see which one I used. That's my scrap note paper. And let's see, I used the 6.0. The 6.0 millimeter needles. And that was a time and a half. Sorry, I got hair somewhere right here. It's tickling my nose. Okay, got it. I didn't see that I got it because I'm blind too. Y'all, I'm only 51, but I think I'm falling apart. But anyway, so this set comes with an 8-inch, a 14-inch, and a 22-inch. Which, that's just the needle size. That's not including the tip size, right? So I have 4-inch tips. And that was my first time breaking these out and actually trying them since I got them from Christmas. Thank you, by the way. And so, okay, that's biting me. I'm not going to play with it right now. I'll put it up in a minute. But anyway, so that gave me 16-inch circular needles, which is way too much for those 40 stitches to cast on in a circle. So, I mean, I guess I could have did it flat and then seamed it on the inside in a tube to where you can't see it. That is a good, I might try that on my next one. Like seam it and then put the seam inside here to where you can't see it once you're wearing it. That's an idea. I might try that. Because I love the look of these headbands. I love the look of these ear warmers. And I do want to continue to make them. I just don't want to fight my Centro over it. Now, I haven't made any lately of my 22 pin. And I have not even touched my 48 pin for hats. So, I like my stuff easy. Not easy, but I like it to be enjoyable. I mean, y'all see me. I have technical difficulties all the time with electronics. I don't need it in my little Centro. By the way, I'm so sorry about last Thursday's video. I was going to re-record it because I had chopped. I did not mean to. I did not mean to do that. But that thing was so long. I don't mind re-recording a video if I mess up. But I was struggling that day. I was struggling. I think I even mentioned in the video I was having technical difficulties between my website and everything. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I hope they forgive me if they don't watch it. I understand. But like we have discussed before, yeah, seeing me is not bad, but that's not why y'all are here. I mean, half of you are probably working on your projects, not even looking at your screen, right? You just hear my annoying voice. Now, for my next. I did finish those socks, and I meant to show y'all the other day, but I still had my toes to finish. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to show them until they're done. And now, they're done. I really like that colorway. And like I said, the Sock Yarn Company is where I got that Regio sock yarn. I got quite a bit from their site, but I bought so much at one time that I haven't had to go back yet because we have talked about my socks yarn stash. I have a lot of sock yarn because I love to knit socks. And, you know, it's such a relaxing thing. And a lot of people can't because their hands, you know, with those tiny 9-inch circulars, their hands can't handle it. And I totally understand. There's days to where the arthritis, it gets bad. So I have to switch to crochet. Because that's the one thing that I love to be able to do is when these things are beating my hiney, as far as hurting my hands, I switch to crochet. And if that hurts, I can work on my sewing machine. There's no shortage of crafts that I do that if I'm having a bad pain day for one, that I can't do one of the others. So that's why I really appreciate having so many aspects that I can do. Okay, now I mentioned this a few months ago. I have a love-hate relationship with this project, and that's why it is put in a bag in timeout. There's a couple of reasons why I have a love-hate relationship with this. Now, this project it's the perfect tee, and I don't know if I have. Yes, I don't print out the main page, the first page. Yeah, I will look it up and put it down in the description below. It's a free Ravelry pattern, but it's called the Perfect Tee. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the lady now. I'll put it down below. I do love the pattern, okay? Mostly. But I did this in the KC cotton yarn from Joann. Yep. Now, I started this back when I worked my old job because my boss said that in order for my coworkers, to get my coworkers to stop picking on me, instead of going to them, he told me that, you know, I needed to slow down. I needed not to do my job as fast as I do and take away from their workload. So I was being told not to work hard, not to be me. So I started bringing knitting and crochet and whatnot. So at the very worst emotional time at that job, I started this. And that might be why I have a love-hate relationship with it. That was back in, I want to say March. It was either sometime between January and March of 2022. Yeah. I left that job in July, the 1st of July in 2022. And it took me a while to get over the mess that put in my head. But anyway, and I'm a very strong-willed woman, and I am a very strong emotionally. I'm emotionally strong. But for them to have tore me down the way that I let them, and the only reason why I say I let them, because I'm going to own some of that. I could have left when I told my boss what was going on, and it didn't change. He said, give him time to fix it. And it, you know, okay, so I did give him time. I gave him a year to fix it, and he never did, so I left. But I was shocked at how much these people were able to hurt me. So, not physically. I'm just talking about mentally and emotionally. But anyway, so this right here, it's called the Perfect Tee. And I got this far on it. And I tried it on before I even finished the collar. I did do the I-cord sleeves and hem on the bottom. Okay? And I love the raglan style. I love it. But, oh, and by the way, this did not take me long. I had to slow myself down so much at work that this really did not take me that long to make. I can't remember now because it is January of 2025. So, it's been almost 3 years since I made this. And it's still in timeout. until now, because I was reorganizing my stuff and I saw this and I said, you know what, we're going to do something with it. So I tried it on. It fits a lot better than it did back then, because back then I was still 175 pounds, and that's pretty big for my 5'6.5" frame. So now that I'm back to my normal weight, I tried it on, and it fits better for that reason alone. But there's some things I want to change. Like the sleeves are really, really big on me. Now, like this shirt right here, this is not my typical size that I'm the most comfortable with. Normally it's one size up. Normally I like to wear a big large or an extra large. And the distinction in that is, depending on the cloth, it depends on if a large is a big large or a regular large. So what I might want to do is rip this bind off the I-cord, and do some decreases, and I might do them right here at the edge, at the raglan on the front and the back, just so that I can make sure it's even and not as noticeable. But they're also very long. They come down to almost the crook of my elbow, and I don't mind that. I think I would mind it less if they were smaller in diameter. And to think, these things were pretty snug on my arms when I made this. So I'm so glad that I got back down to that weight that I need to for the health of my knees and my body, honestly. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. As far as the neckline, I don't mind the neckline. I think my next one, I want to do a V. I do. I think I want the V neckline, because I don't mind this. I mean, it's cute, and it will look even better. And I'm not sure if I want to keep the bind off, because it looks like a rolled hem. And I might keep that just on this one and then experiment with another one on my next. And then I'm going to go and change one more thing. Yes, I did the I-cord and it's bound off, but I can always take it out. But I think what I want to do, and by the time I finish this pattern, I really don't know how much is going to be left of the original pattern. Yeah, but I wouldn't have changed it. I just modified. I mean, well, yeah, I am changing certain aspects of it. But that's what I love about patterns, is you can take what you like and what you don't. You can use what you like and leave out what you don't. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't mind the length of this, because it hits me about mid-behind, or like mid-zipper on the front. And that's a pretty decent place for me, because I don't have much of a behind. I have a flat little backside. So I don't like, showing my whole backside, or sometimes I completely cover it up. But I think I want to leave the length. I mean, I might lose a little of the length when I take this bind off. But I also want to rip it back, probably about 4 inches. Yeah, about probably right here, to where it would fit about where my hand would go in my pocket. And I want to split the hem and do a split hem. I think I would be a lot happier with this, to have that split hem on it. And I do have more of this yarn in this colorway. See, I have a whole nother hank that I haven't even twisted up. Oh, and if you want to know, oops, this is the yarn. And I hope I'm doing it in the camera this time and not too far out. And this is called Coastal Blue. Now, I will tell you, I have searched the website Joann website and their app looking for this yarn. Not necessarily in this colorway, but another one. And I can't find it on either the app or the website. So I don't know if it's just not there. I even used my app to scan the barcode, and it said it couldn't be found. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. So I have an entire hank left, and I have probably a third of a ball left, which is I just caked up into a hank. And I bought 4 of these at the time. This was my most expensive full price purchase because, like I said, I bought this back. I did this back in early of 2022. And I think I had the yarn probably about a month or so before I dived in to do the project. But isn't that color beautiful? And I wasn't as impressed with the color once I worked it up as I was. I love the color. But I don't know. I didn't. I think I would be happier with more of a solid color and then having like some accents on the bottom and on the sleeves and maybe on the collar in the color, this colorway. But, and this is why I went looking for this color, this yarn on Joann's website, because I wanted to see if I could get any solid colors. My store doesn't carry any solids, so I wanted to see if I could get any, and I can't find it anywhere. Okay, so it says it's manufactured and distributed by JAS LLC, Hudson, Ohio. That's Joann's, so. But it's JAS LLC. So I wonder if that's Joann's actual official company name. I don't know. But of course it was made in Turkey. Now, I do have... Oh, no, that wouldn't work. Let's say I have some fingering cotton yarn, but that's way too teal. That's way too teal. Anyway. Oh, wait, but I do have... Now, see. That may work. Something like that. And this is some organic cotton I got off of Temu. But this is thicker. Even though it's classified as a fingering weight, it's thicker. In fact, let me show you. I'm not going to mess with my hank. Okay, I can't even get this thing done. But see, there's a distinct difference in the size of those two. A very distinct difference. If I can get them to stay separate. And I'm sorry, my hands are super dry. But yeah, no, that wouldn't work. I do like the colorway, though. I like the colors together. But I'll have to see what I have down there. And see if I have anything that would work. But for now, I'm going to leave I'm still going to keep this colorway because I put that work into it. And I do really want to wear it because I did put all the work in it. I do like the colors. I think I would like it better after I make the modifications and I made these with the 3.25 knitting needles, and we'll see how that goes. I hope to get started on the modifications on this very soon. So I'm going to actually put this right here so that it is on in my website, in my line of sight, so that I can say, don't forget it. Do not forget it. which I have so many things going right now mentally as far as all the projects that I want to do. I need to start writing them down. But I'm never organized like that. I need to be, because there's so many things that I want to do, and I'll see a squirrel moment in my head, and I'll jump to a project. I'll start a project, and then halfway through that one, I'm like, oh man, I wanted to do this other thing first. But I'm usually a one project per craft person. But I have no sewing in process right now. I have a quilt that I was trying to do, and I had to put it in timeout because I had cut different sizes that I should have, and they're not all uniform, so I put it in timeout until I can figure out, because I'm new to quilting. Not the old school way, but the modern quilting, I'm very new to. I mean, I can make squares, and I can sew them together, and that's great. And that is my elementary type experience. But this one, I can tell y'all, it is I think it's, you pronounce it Bargello, Bargello. And I was going by a lady's pattern on a website. She's talking about just, so easy for beginners, and this is how you do it. Well, I noticed it was on her blog back in 2013, and there's not been anything on there since then, so I can't really reach out to her. I mean, I can, but I don't think that anybody's there anymore, so I don't know. But in there, she says you need this many of this size, this many of this size, and she missed a couple. So that messed me up. So when I got to the point to where I was ready to sew them all together and cut them, I mean, because if you've done one, you know what I mean. If not, Google it and you can see. But so I was ready I had sewn all the strips together. I had made a tube out of them. I had cut my individual things across that tube, the opposite way. And I was lining them up, and I'm like, ugh, okay. And I look back at the website, and my daughter-in-law come in while I was doing this, and I said, come here for a second. Because she come over here, and I said, look at this, read this, and read this section of what I need, how many strips of this, each size I need, and then read the construction. And so she did, and she's like, she's missing some. I said, yeah, okay. So I didn't have any more of the light colored blue fabric to make another set, to make some more strips. So I had to wait. So it got put on the back burner until I went back to work, and I got some more of that cloth. Came home, cut what I needed, got it ready, cut the strips crossways, and when I laid it out next to the original strips, there was a size difference. So that's on me. I had cut some of the strips of the original wider than the 2.5 inches that she told me to cut, of the first strips that you have to sew all together and then make a tube out of. So that's my fault. And I told my daughter-in-law, she's like, Miss Lynn, why are you doing something so complicated? And I said, well, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go big, right? And that's the way I've always been with all of my crafting. So I put it in timeout to see if I can get any ideas on how to fix it without starting over. And even if I do start over, I might make those like jelly rolls, maybe, for something else. Because I don't want all that time that I invested in making that to go to waste. Alright. Now, that's all of my Yarn Lovely stuff. I finished the 4 ear warmers, and I almost said it again. I finished the 4 ear warmers. I finished my socks. I want to modify my knit t-shirt. Oh, that reminds me. I need to make a note so I don't forget to Oh, and these socks are just plain vanilla stockinette stitch. Sorry, y'all. I'm just making a note to myself to link the perfect tee on this description, because if I forget, you're gonna be, what is she talking about? But that's I think that's the name of it, the perfect tee, which is TEE instead of just the letter T. So now onto my sewing stuff. I have, y'all know I buy the flannels so that I can make the reusable paper towels, you know. And these things are handy. Now, I have it folded up right now because I'm using it as a cup cozy. Or cup. Wow, it looks like it's about to rain. What is the heck is the word I'm looking for? Coaster. That's what I was... a coaster for my teacup. So, I made some more, and there's 8 here. And what I love is on Bella, my new brother machine, it has the most beautiful overlock zigzag stitch. And it works so beautifully. Now, and then I did the blue, and then I did a set of green, and I also did a gray and white and dark gray plaid. But you can guess who claimed those. That's my daughter-in-law's favorites, so of course she's going to claim those. And I don't mind. I got that cloth with her in mind. And I also made her some in this like tie-dye. I didn't use all of it, but I still have about half of a yard left because I had 2 remnants on that. So, those colors I buy with her in mind. In fact, I have I think it's gray and black plaid that I think I have the gray and black plaid. But I'm going to make those for her too. And you say, why make so many? Well, usually I make 8 at a time. Okay, in each color. And I have 8 of my little moon moth crystals. I have 8 in some green dinosaurs. So that gives me 16 here at the house. Well, this is 16. Okay, this right here is 16. That's not a whole lot to wash. I'm not going to waste a load to wash these. Now, I have heard that people put them in their dishwasher and wash them that way when they just do a load of dishes. I was going to do that, but my husband near about lost his ever-loving mind. He's like, no, don't do that. It'll get down on the bottom and clog it up. I pick my battles. So I was like, you know what? It's not worth that to me to cause any contention between my husband and I. Sometimes I pick that I stand on my mountain and I don't move. But sometimes, yeah, it's not that important to me. So, and I have all this fabric. So why argue with him when I can just make more? Sorry. I just slapped myself in the face with these things. I can make more and just wait till I have a big enough load, even in a small load in my washing machine. So I plan now. I'm not really crazy about the green. We've already discussed me and my non-love of green, but that's okay. It's still pretty enough, and I can really use these. Now I have some reds and green plaid, more for holiday, but I can use these in the winter months. I mean, I can use them anytime, but I can use them closer to Christmas with my other Christmassy ones. So I have 16 more to my collection, and I have I did not snip a thread. Look at me. Shame on me. And these are not my thread clipper scissors, but it's okay. I'm going to snip that off. But anyway, so if y'all use these, how many do you have? Is 32 too many? What I'm thinking about doing now, these are totally mine. These are going. I'm gonna wash them because I have found that if I wash them a couple times before I use them, they get really, really absorbent. But I'm gonna wash these and keep these, so that will make me have 32 of them. So technically, I could go like 2 weeks without washing them. I mean, before I have to wash a load. But I might make even more. Because Lord knows I have enough flannel. Oh, and the one I showed y'all last week, this one right here, that I chopped off his little head when I was trying to show y'all. I want to make some of these for me. And I'm trying to show you, yeah, there's his head. And I hope I'm getting it in the shot. Because isn't that so pretty? Oh, I want to make some of these too. So I might end up with more than 32. But another thing I was thinking, I think I should make any to sell, like in a package. If so, how many would be good for a package to buy, being affordable? Because I mean, they're reusable, so it would be, you're investing in it. It's not like you're buying a roll of paper towels that are just you're going to throw away, so you're throwing the money away. These are, reusable, so you're not throwing your money away. Y'all got any ideas? Leave me some comments and let me know what you think. If I do sell them, how big of a pack should I sell them for? Or how big of a pack should I make, and what, I don't know. I'd have to look to see what currently is on the market and what they're selling for. Because these are perfect size for me in my house. These are 10 by 11s. I mean, that's perfect size for me. But I have fun making these. What I do so that I don't wear my back out at one time, I'll cut these to size and I'll put them to the side, and then I'll sit there and make. Now these, I cut these and my daughter-in-law's. So that was 24. I cut 24 paper towels. And then I did not sew them that day. Because for one, I was having issues with my hands and my back. And I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna press that. So I sat down and was crocheting. Because like I said, I can do, if something's bothering me, yeah, anyway. So, the next day, my back was feeling a lot better, and my hands were still kind of not working as good as they should, but it was fine to make reusable paper towels. So, I made all 24 of them, and I sent her a picture of all three sets side by side, and I was like, which one you want? And she said, you know which one I want. I said, I do. So, I ended up giving her those and kept these 16. But I'm going to make more. Because I have quite a few different colors that I want to play with. Now, I think this has gotten cold on me. Told y'all I like to talk. Now, I'm going to get off here. And I know I said too many times. Probably too many times this episode, but I do apologize for that. I don't edit my videos. I have seen, and some of the podcasters I watch, some don't edit them, or edit them very little, or some don't edit them at all, and some edit them a lot. And when I see the cuts of the edits, it drives me crazy. But if I'm knitting and crocheting while I'm watching them on my TV in my living room, I don't really look up. But now if I'm focused on that screen and I see the edits, the cuts, and it's like, oh, that irritates me. So I don't want to do that for myself. And besides, like I told y'all at the beginning, what you see on that screen is 100% who I am. And squirrel moments and discombobulation and all. Now, there are some days to where I get on here and I appear to be a little bit more upbeat than I'm feeling that day. And that's only because I don't want to drag you down if I'm not up here. I don't want to bring you to where I'm at. So I make myself get up there. And the funny thing about that is, that continues on after I stop recording. So it's actually good for me to sit here and talk to y'all and make myself it brings the adage, fake it till you make it to mine. Because I'm not faking it. I might be elevating my mood level, but by doing that, I put myself in a better frame of mind to where that mood continues throughout most of my day. Until about 5, 6 o'clock, and then I start getting super tired because I'd already been up all day since before the crack of dawn. I actually slept in this morning, y'all. If you made it this far, you get to hear this. I actually slept in. And don't roll your eyes, or don't roll them so hard you give yourself a headache. I slept till 5:45 this morning. That blew my mind. I opened my eyes and I looked at my clock and I'm like, wow. But I was really, really tired yesterday. I even took a nap. Well, I say a nap. I think I dozed for about 10 minutes. And then my husband didn't know I was. And so he come in the room talking to me. I'm in my recliner with my little crochet on my lap and just kind of just dozed off. And he walks in talking and scared the tar out of me. And yeah. So I really didn't get to snooze much yesterday. So that's probably why I slept so hard and slept through. I did get up twice to use the bathroom, but, you know, for the most part, I slept good. Obviously, if I slept till 5:45. Now, if we can do that every day, except on days I work, when I go in super early, I get up at 3:45. Either I go in at 5 or I go in at 6. So on days I get up, when I go in at 5, I get up at 3:45 because I live so far away from work. I mean, I've told y'all, the closest one to me is technically supposed to be a 40 to 45 minute drive. I make it in 30. Then that's the one I work at. And then the one in Columbia is about 45 minutes. I can't skim down that too much because it takes all of that 45 minutes. Even going interstate, it takes a lot. So I have to get up at 3:45, and I'm gonna shut up in a minute. But I am old school in the regard to where if I get to work on time, I feel like I'm late because I feel like I rushed and I was watching the clock to make sure that I could get there by the clock in time, and so I've never done that. I've always gotten to work early, and to me that's on time. Anywhere from, I have gotten to work at some jobs 45 minutes early. I've gotten to work some jobs at 30 minutes. 15 minutes is a little hairy for me. I still start stressing because I live out in the middle of nowhere. So minimum 30 minutes to town. To any job that I could get is 30 minutes. So you never know from one day to the next what traffic is going to be like, if your car is going to get stupid, you know. And I tried to instill this in my boys. Hold on. I'm going to cut that out. Wow, that was rough. I had the biggest. I got so crazy dizzy. So I'm gonna stop. Because I'm still really, really dizzy. Um, Needless to say, I get to work early, so I was proud of myself for um, waking up so late. So anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to end on this kind of note, but I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you later. Do something you enjoy. I'll see you later. Bye.